Hello, welcome to the Quick Take live here on the Fulhamish YouTube channel and on the Fulhamish Twitter. A bit of a late Quick Take today and a bit of a ad hoc one from me. But yeah, thank you very much for watching and just some speedy thoughts on Fulham's 2-1 defeat yesterday to Man City at the Etihad. A pretty gutting performance, truth be told. Put your comments in, what your thoughts of the match, and I'll try and read some of them out as we go. Just recorded the podcast actually, which is coming out tomorrow morning, and yeah, some pretty dispirited faces just gutted, really, wasn't it? What a horrible way to lose a match when such a valiant performance, I think, from the lads for 94 minutes yesterday. So yeah, put your comments in. Would love to hear what you thought of the game. Obviously, there's some real controversy with the way that Kevin De Bruyne won that penalty in the 94th minute. I've got a bit of a take on it that I think is a bit against the grain, so I'll be interested to see what you guys think of it. Also, I think there's been a lot of chat amongst Fulham fans over whether we should have maybe been a bit more ambitious 11v10. Could we have caused them a bit more problems? Will we ever get a better chance to get a result, a win, basically? I genuinely think yesterday, when it's 11v10 for so long in the game yesterday, and it was one of their best players that gets sent off, is there a chance that Fulham maybe actually could have done a bit more yesterday? So I'd be interested to hear your take on that. But just going through the game chronologically, thought it started pretty typical City, really, and to be honest, I saw nothing else other than a straightforward 3-4-1 maybe City win. And when Alvarez gets that goal within 15 minutes, you just think, here we go. It's going to be a pretty standard afternoon. I thought Fulham were dogged up until that point, but just clearly not able to do anything on the ball. We got the ball and we lost the ball because we just had no ability to hold on to it. City just pounce on you, and their pressing is so intense, and it's just unlike anything that Fulham have ever faced before, and the quality is so high. So I think that when that goal went in, I was just expecting a straightforward afternoon where City kind of ramped in a few more goals. I never thought we were going to lose disgracefully. I didn't think it was going to be 5 or 6 because I think Fulham are better than that, but I just didn't see anything coming. And then the moment out of the blue is the penalty that Fulham won, and we got a bit of stroke of luck. The ball bounced nicely to Vinicius, who rolled in Harry Wilson, and he just makes sure he gets to the ball first. And I think it's really like reckless from João Cancelo. I thought it was just really unnecessary. I think that Harry Wilson still had a lot to do to put the ball in, even once he'd got the touch. You know, Edison's racing out. He wouldn't have had much time to get it past Edison, and surely, you know, better to just concede the goal. You're Man City, you're probably 11v11 gonna stay in the game, but he thinks that he's just gonna slightly shoulder barge him, and he actually just takes him out. It's a rightful red card as the rules go. You know, obviously now they try and stop the triple jeopardy of, you know, getting a red card and a penalty and conceding a goal. But not when there wasn't a clear attempt to play the ball, which is exactly how the rules were, and they were correctly implemented. And then you're like, wow, this is such an opportunity. Fulham, 11v10 at the Etihad, and the rest of the first half was really controlled from us. We were doing olays in the stands as Fulham knocks the ball around. It's that moment where you wonder if Fulham could have taken a bit more advantage. Could we have made a few more chances, made City sweat a little bit? And I think it's in that moment towards the end of the first half, maybe beginning of the second, where Fulham, could we have done a little bit more to trouble the champions, depleted champions as well? Like Haaland wasn't on the pitch then, Foden wasn't on the pitch then, Cancelo wasn't on the pitch. Yes, there's still outrageous amount of quality throughout the side. Any team that's got Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Gundogan, and even players like Alvarez, who, yes, a second string for City, but still a hell of a striker. But I feel like at times a little bit of lack of quality, a little bit of lack of decision making. And then 70 minutes, on comes Phil Foden, and most importantly, Erling Haaland. And you felt the momentum of the game shift, and it just felt like all City. Fulham tried to counteract it. We made some subs like Mbabu and James just to try and have some pace on the break. But I just don't think that we really had the quality up top. If we'd had Mitrovic on the pitch, I think it's a massively different game yesterday. I think that City would have been much more wary to pile as many men forward because they know that Mitrovic is a danger man who can bring other players into play. But Vinicius for me yesterday just didn't offer much. And Ben here saying Vinicius's first touch is shocking. I mean, it really is. Even the goal that he assisted, his first touch went to a City player. It's only that it came back to him that he managed to do the assist. I don't think he's the right player for us to be a second striker. I think that if we clearly need a player that can hold the ball up. Now, obviously, Mitrovic can offer both. He can not only just hold the ball up, he's also a brilliant penalty box striker. Vinicius is kind of neither. I feel like we need to go one way or the other, almost like an old school Emil Heskey type player that realistically hasn't got much finishing ability, although Heskey was a little bit underrated, but that's a side point. We need a player that is just a bit of a brute force up front that can bring other players into play. You know, arguably would have Boubacar Kamara been better up front than Vinicius. I know it sounds mental to say that, but you actually just have to wonder. It was tough for him yesterday. And Oscar says, I think we would have pushed harder with Mitro. Vinicius clearly put in a shift, but I felt he couldn't make a real impact. It's exactly my thoughts on it, Oscar. I feel like, yes, Vinicius tried hard, and you can never fault someone too much that puts in maximum effort. And that's definitely what Vinicius did. It's just, I don't know if he's the kind of player that really we need as the perfect understudy to Alexander Mitrovic. But I do understand that trying to find that player that is willing to be second fiddle for a lower mid Premier League team to someone that's clearly going to be first choice if fit is a hard one to recruit for. And Fulham held off. Erling Haaland thought he'd scored, and then it was ruled out correctly for offside, and we all breathed a sigh of relief. And then the game kind of petered out, really. Like, City weren't making that many chances. Fulham were clearly content just to get a point. And then comes this penalty moment when just at the moment I'd started to believe that actually 1-1 was possible. We could nick a point here at the Etihad. Look, it's a really tough one to call. My opinion is that it shouldn't have been a penalty, that Kevin De Bruyne goes down too easily. However, Anthony Robinson sticks a leg out and he allows the referee to make a decision. And once that decision's made, for me, I don't think it's overturnable. I think that, like, we need to get away from like VAR always being this thing that always has to be 100% right. It's there to call out clear and obvious errors. And if the referee's called that on the pitch, then I don't see it as a case where VAR can go in and say absolutely definitively there's no way that's a penalty. You know, Robinson touches him and it's crap and it's shit and it's cheating, but it's the game. And it's, if Alexander Mitrovic got a similar touch in the box, he would go down too. So would half of our team. And that for me is just why it's so frustrating. And I think Robinson knew, and the lack of protest from him, I think, shows a lot. I think if he absolutely thought he would dived, then he would have protested much more. But he knew what he'd done, and he knew it was silly, and he gave the referee a call. And that's why it is so heartbreaking. And then even more heartbreaking the way that Leno so nearly saves it. So nearly saves it. He does so well to get there. He just kind of goes over the ball. It squirms underneath him, because that would have just been, I mean, that would have been the dream day, wouldn't it? If that had all happened, we thought we'd lost it, and then somehow we managed to save a point from that situation. I mean, it would have absolutely kicked off in the away end, wouldn't it? And it would have been unbelievable. But hey ho, we narrowly lost to the best team in the country. They were so happy to get past us. And yes, there's a caveat. They were probably happy that they managed to somehow win a game with 10 men that they probably would have thought that might have been beyond them. But still, it shows a lot about how Fulham have come far this season. Two teams top of the league, Arsenal and Man City, have both narrowly beat us by 2-1, and they've both been over the moon with it. Because I think everyone knows now that Fulham is a difficult game. Fulham is a game that are not a team that are not necessarily going to go to your stadium and just roll over. And what a position that is that Marcus Silva's put us in, that we can go to some of the best teams in the land and really hold our own. Like, really hold our own, even without our star striker and stuff like that. Yes, okay, they did have 10 men, but it wasn't like it was their own doing to get 10 men. We forced them into that situation through good play, and their defender made a rash decision. And so Fulham have got to come out of it with a lot of credit. I'll read out a few of your comments just before we go. If you've got any more, then sticking them in there. BTKB says, I thought we did well. No idea why Anthony put a leg out at the end, but otherwise he did well. We are looking much more solid at the back. Yeah, we are. And it's great to have now, it seems like a consistent back four. Anthony Robinson, Diop, who I thought was excellent yesterday, Ream, who I thought was okay, and then Kenny Tete. So frustrated now. Kenny Tete is just as he's got back, he's now picked up his 5th yellow card, means he misses the Man United game. So does Harrison Reed. He picked up his 5th booking of the season. So that's a problem for next week, but still a bit of a bitter one. I mean, they were always going to get suspended at some point, and they're either suspended for Man United or they're suspended for Crystal Palace when we come back from the World Cup. So they've got to be suspended sometime if you're going to pick up that amount of bookings. There's one here from Jay Brandt says, do you think Pereira should have been sent off? I don't know what instant this is referring to. I don't know if I've missed something. Did he do a dodgy challenge? Because I had no idea why he should have been sent off. And Ben Walker, second, I thought, hey, we might get a point. The pen comes in, absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah, my thoughts entirely, really. Just it was just that moment where I dared to dream. I think we're going to do this, aren't we? The City aren't creating anything, and I didn't think Kevin De Bruyne was going absolutely anywhere with where he was going, but not to be. But still, the beautiful position that Fulham are in, 19 points, still in the top 10 in the league. This is not a disaster by any stretch of the imagination. If we were in the bottom 3 and we'd lost that point, it could have been one of those that would have been, a real catastrophic, blow to confidence. But the big blow to confidence yesterday could have been losing 5 or 6-0, and that didn't happen. The fact we came away with the Etihad losing narrowly 1 goal, I think should give the team more confidence than anything else. If we can go to Manchester City and prove ourselves, then I think we can take on any team in this league, and that is hugely encouraging. Anyway, thank you for watching the quick take today. Bit of a quick take from me, a bit of a rapid fire one, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Podcast is going to be out Monday morning for much more analysis on everything else that happened in the game, and there's some great articles to read on the Fulhamish website, including the player ratings, which are out now, so head to fulhamish.co.uk if you want some more analysis on yesterday's heartbreaking defeat to Man City at the Etihad. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Come on, you Whites.